the effort you're putting in. So today's presentation is why engineers fail the FE exam and what successful candidates do differently. This topic is very important to me in particular because I was also in a very similar situation when I took my first FE and I did not pass it. And so I have to retake it again. So I this really dear to me. I'll go to the next page. Let's see. Okay, so for today's presentation, we will talk about the real pass rates according to the National Council of Examiners for Engineering and Surveying. And then what are the top 5 reasons why people fail? Obviously, there are many reasons why people will not pass the exam, but we'll look at the top 5, the most common. We'll also look at the diagnostic report, how to understand or how to analyze it, and then take lessons from it. And then we would talk about what successful candidates or engineers do differently. We'll conclude by looking at the takeaways from this presentation. And then if we have time, I'll have a bonus tips and resources for you. Okay. So see. I'm seeing the right screen. Okay, yeah, that's the right screen. Okay, so can you scan this QR code? And I guess I have a question here for interaction. So have you ever failed a professional exam before? Every successful person has failed at least once. So there's no fear, there's no worries about it. Are you able to scan the QR code?
I took a picture of it and I'm opening the QR code right now.
Okay. Yeah, since you're the only one, it's just going to be one response, but that's okay. 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 Okay, hello, John. You just joined the call, so we're in the middle of having an interaction here. If you can scan the QR code. Very Hello, John. Are you able to see the QR code on the screen?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. If you're able to scan it, and then let's have this interaction here. If yeah, it's normal if you have ever failed an exam before. Myself, I failed the FE exam before, so everyone has a failure at least in their life. So fine. Okay, great.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, let's proceed to the next slide. So this is fine. Thank you for responding. Okay, so now let's look at the FE pass rate according to the National Council. So you would see that the first time takers pass rate is at 64% as at 2025. And then the retakers pass rate is 31%, which is very surprising. But if you have taken the exam and you did not succeed, it means that you should have learned something into retaking, but it's always not the case. So 31% in all for all the FE candidates, over 57,000 candidates. And the average is within 61 to 69% for all disciplines. And so we have the candidates who take this exam before graduating from college because they have things fresh in their mind. They usually have the highest pass rate according to the National Council. It's about 71%. And those who took the exam within 12 months after graduating, that is about 1 year after graduating, have also nearly 71%. Okay, let me admit someone again. Joining the call. Okay. So, and then you realize that those who took the exam after 1 year from school, their pass rate declines to 63%. So 63% is very close to 64%, which tells you that the longer you stay out of school, then the higher you have the chance of failure. But it's not always the case for everyone, but this is the average from the National Council. Okay, let's go to the next slide. And so this slide connects back to the first one. If you look at on all disciplines, like I mentioned earlier on, the first takers usually have like higher percentage, even though it's not so good, 64% for electrical and computer. And then the repeat is 31%. Civil is 61%. Repeat is 32%. So it's almost like half of the initial take percentage. But the most surprising thing is that the exam format is the same, the grading is the same, nothing changes, and NCEES does not penalize candidates for getting an answer wrong. So with all this, why do candidates still continue to get a lower mark even though they are retakers? So that's the most important thing where we have to look in this webinar. Okay, so now let's look at the top 5 reasons why candidates fail. Okay, number 1 of them is insufficient study time. Most frequently cited by most of the people, or most of the I would say institutions providing FE or PE assistance or resources to engineers to write the exam, right? They all cite insufficient study time as being the number 1 cause. And so many candidates, especially those who are out of school for a very long time, underestimate the exam. And this is very true even when I took the exam in 2021. By then I had my graduation for bachelor's in 2014. So always I always had the mindset that okay, this exam is going to be easy for me, you know. So I went into the exam not preparing adequately. And so based on that, they usually will start very close to the registered testing window. So let's say you register to take the exam in January, within January to March testing window. But because of overconfidence and believing in yourself, there's a high tendency of delaying preparation, waiting when it is very close to the time, and then now you start to learn. So this is one of the leading cause of why people do not pass the exam: insufficient study time. The second one is the handbook. So as we mentioned in the previous section, the handbook is the only reference document that you have in the exam. But if you haven't gone through the handbook yourself and be more familiar with whatever information is in there, and you want to do that in the exam, then that's going to eat into your time. So candidates may memorize formulas instead of practicing with the handbook, navigating through all the pages relevant to them. Even though the handbook is huge documents, you don't have to, based on whichever section is stronger for you or weaker for you, you have to pay more attention to the things that you need to remember. So if some things are so easy, then you don't actually need to reference every question in the handbook. So yeah, but you can only get through this by going through it and then knowing what you need. Okay, the third one is studying without the computer-based testing style practice. So it's when you learn for the exam and then you only practice by using hard-copied books or resources, and then do not practice live on the computer, then getting into the exam and seeing the computer-based test is going to be something new to you. And every question you have less than 3 minutes to solve. Okay, so the fourth one is delaying too much after graduation, or delaying too long after graduation. So according to the NCEES Squared 2025 data, 71%, it's shown in the previous slide, 71% of the candidates who took the exam before graduating have a pass rate. And then we have like 70% of those who took the exam passing when they are still within the first year of graduation. So there's a point gap here, which tells you that there's a difference in taking the exam earlier on or delaying. In any case, in our situation, let's say that you have graduated for long, so it doesn't matter here. The only thing is we have to be prepared if we had graduated for long. But this is one of the reasons why people also have difficulties in passing the FE exam. And one additional thing is that the FE exam, since is basically based on the topics that we have gone through during undergrad. So if you stay out of school for long, then it means that you may have been forgetting a lot of things. So I think that is the main cause. Okay, the fifth one is repeating without changing your approach. Repeating the exam without changing the approach. And as we have seen in the NCEES records, the first people who took the exam has a higher passing rate. And then the same people register for the exam, but has a lower passing rate. So it means that the only conclusion that we can draw from here is that probably they registered after failing the exam, they did not do the assignment well. They just immediately re-registered and then took the exam within a short period of time without looking into detail their diagnostic reports. Or it could also mean that they did not even look at the diagnostic report at all. So this could be some of the leading factors why the repeat takers has a very low passing rate. Okay, let's look at the next one. And so we will talk about the diagnostic reports, how to understand it, what does each point or each knowledge area, whatever you have there, what does it imply? So when you take the diagnostic report, what you would see is that the knowledge areas have been broken down. You have all of them, the 17 knowledge areas for FE, and you have a scale from 0 to 15. There is no percentage in the diagnostic report. And then there is a comparison bar showing you your performance compared with average passing examinees. And there is no fixed CAT score from the diagnostic report that will tell you that this is what you must get to pass. But you have to look at the report, comparing yourself to how others also performed. So another thing is that the report will show you the areas that you did so well and the areas that you have you perform poorly. Okay, so let me go to the next, and then I think the next slide talks about a sample of the diagnostic report. Okay, so this is the diagnostic report is on NCEES website. It's three pages if you should print it. But this one, I'm showing the last page. And in the last page, you would see that we have all the knowledge areas, right? And before I talk about the knowledge areas, you have mathematics, probability, statistics, power, computer networks. So these are the areas that people typically have difficulties. And the areas that people usually perform well is ethics and professional practice, properties of electrical materials, engineering, sciences, and electromagnetics. So these areas have lower points, but people also do well there. Okay, but let's look at this chart here. So if you can see very well, you see that the number of items is the number of questions that were asked on each of the knowledge areas. And then you have the score range that is from 0 to 15. And then on the far right, you have a dotted line in the middle. So that dotted line is the average of passing examinees. If you can see at the top, there is a average of passing examinees. And then your performance is a solid black line. So if you can see, this is a solid black line here, vertical line. And then there is average of the examinees here. Okay, so now let's say mathematics, if you look at the first one, the average is in the middle. It doesn't show you the exact mark, but they put the score here. And this is done by subject matter experts using psychometric statistics to give this grading. Yeah, so, but nobody knows it because it's never published, and unless you are part of the subject matter experts, and then you would understand it. But this is very understandable. It means that we can see that for mathematics, the person has less than the average. For probability and statistics, the person has less than average. So it applies the same. And then if you look at this, let's say digital systems, you can see that the average is in the middle, and then the black vertical line is on the right side of the dotted line. So this person performed more than the average. So, and then if you look at software development too, the person performed more than average. But to have a complete pass for the FE, you need to perform above average or just at average. Okay, so we can go to the next. Let's look at what successful candidates do differently to pass the exam. Okay. We'll look at 6 main things to do in order to pass the exam. And even though we are talking about FE exam, but this is also applicable to PE exam in many ways. The first of them is the steady with the handbook open. The handbook, last week we discussed how to get it downloaded. You create an account, you go into your NCEES account, and then you download it. Start navigating through, identifying all the formulas and the things that you need not to memorize. But if you have them in memory, it's okay. So even that is better. If you have the formula or anything in memory, you go to the exam, instead of navigating through the handbook, you can quickly solve the question and go ahead. But the reference handbook is very helpful. The disadvantage is that if you don't remember something and now you want to go through the handbook and spend like 5 minutes looking for that information, then that is where the handbook is against you. But it should be working for you. Okay, number 2 is you need to practice with the computer-based testing conditions. You have timer on the screen. You can see the time ticking down. And then also you have your question and answers. Your questions, and then you answer the question and proceed that way. Okay, register with a realistic runway. So this, like I mentioned, most engineers who are experienced tend to underestimate the difficulty or the challenges with the FE exam. But even though you are experienced, what you may be working on currently, you might have forgotten so many things you did when you were in undergrad. So you need to pick a realistic time. Look at what is difficult for you, and then you'll be able to plan, okay, I need 2 months, or I need 3 months, or even if you need 4 months, that is fine. It's always better to pick a realistic time than to rush into failing the exam. Because we have seen that, and evidence have shown that retaking the exam does not usually guarantee passing the exam, even though the condition stays the same. Number 4 is answer every question without skipping. So this without skipping doesn't mean that you should stay at one question, trying to solve that question by all means before proceeding. So there is no penalty for wrong answer. If you answer a question under mathematics and you get it correct, that correct answer carries the same equal weight as answering a question under electromagnetics. So let's say if you have a question that is holding you up in mathematics, you can skip, but you have to flag it. Flag the question and then continue. Once you are done and you have extra time, you come back and then answer all the questions. So in this case, even if you don't know, try to pick an answer. You know, some people are very good in guessing. They can guess and get the answer correct. You know, it's probability of numbers. So if you have 4 answers, at least you have 25% chance of getting it correct, rather than leaving it blank, which is 0% of getting anything correct. Okay, so the 5th one, we need to build a plan. A plan from the diagnostic report. This applies to those who write the exam and did not pass. So if you have written the exam and you have your diagnostic report, the diagnostic report is just to help you to know, okay, the knowledge areas that you need to improve. So you identify them and then you build your plan around that. And this one I have always told other mentees a strategy to use. I call it the 101 strategy. So the 1 stands for identify the difficult areas that you have. start practicing them. So let's say you have 90 days to write the exam. You start with the difficulty ones first in the first 1 month, and then you proceed to the less difficult ones because you don't want to leave anything unchecked. So you go to the less difficult, which is a 0. And then getting closer to the exam, you now switch back to the difficulty ones. That is a 1. So 101 strategy really works. And one of the guy I really helped mentor, he passed his FE last month, and he told me that the 101 really helped him. He planned according to that. Okay, the 6th point is testing. You have to test closer to graduation when possible. So this does not apply to everyone. It only applies to candidates who are still in school. And so that is a golden time for you. You have a lot of fresh ideas, new things, less stress from work. Maybe if you are most certainly if you are working, it's different. But I know some people work and still school. That's fine too. But once you are in school, it's gonna help you. Okay, next one. Okay, this handbook, we've already talked about this, so I'll just skip this one. And computer based, I have already talked about this. So this, we need to practice with computer. Okay. In line with the computer practice, you have available resources on my NCEES that you can check. And so NCEES put out this a report, and this report shows that they're comparing the first time taker with practice, and then also first time taker without practice, repeat taker with practice, and repeat taker without practice. And this is in line with the simulation that they have on their website. So if we look at electrical, let's see electrical, we can see that the first time takers with practice have almost like getting to 70% passing rate. And then without practice, there's always like 60%. Repeat takers, the percentage is higher. We have it here, almost getting to 40%. And then without the practice, it's almost like 30%. Okay, let's do this other interaction again. Can you please scan the QR code and let's see this interaction from you? So the question is, what is the one steady habit you are committing to change after today's session? Okay, to not be easily distracted. Great. Okay, study sufficiently. Okay, I think that's all. Yeah, okay. That's great from you. Yeah, study sufficiently and not be distracted. So distraction is one of the things that actually that can lead to failure. Yeah, and then studying sufficiently is also a path to getting the results. So that's great. Thank you. Okay, now let's look at a study roadmap. So for instance, let's say we have 8 weeks to practice or study for the exam. How should we plan around these 8 weeks? So for the first 1 to 2 weeks, you need to map this week with your handbook. I know you guys have already created your my NCEES account. You already have the reference handbook, and so you need to spend some time locating formulas by section, right? So within the first week or two, you just have to be very familiar with the reference handbook. A reference handbook contains a lot of information that some may be useful to you, some may not be useful to you. So this is like traveling. So if you want to travel from one state to another state, you need to check, you do your background check first. You know that, okay, the road that you want to take is very safe. So that's how you check. You check and know that, okay, everything is safe for you before you proceed. Okay. Core, math, and then circuit. In the third and the fourth week, the most challenging areas are the circuit, and then the maths, right? And then the power systems. Those areas you would want to check those areas in the third to fourth week by looking at the areas very well. And then once you check this, you'll be able to identify some of the questions that will be difficult for you. And so you do this along with the handbook. You identify the topic and which area in the handbook can you find those information, right? Okay, and these areas that are not so difficult, you need less effort. So this is in line with what I was saying. So you start with the difficulty ones, and then you switch to the less difficulty ones. Ethics is very easy. Most of the times with ethics, you even need like a bit of reasoning and then like common sense around situations. That's the question is always like using your common sense judgment, right? So those areas you don't want to leave it, but you need to read the materials that you have and then check the reference handbook as well. And then in this 6th week, you want to start timing yourself, practicing this on the screen, and then using less than 2 minutes or let's say 3 minutes if you want to use all the time. So some of the questions you can solve the question even less than 30 seconds, especially for ethics. You can solve those questions in 1 minute or less. So yeah, but you start timing yourself. You get extra time from the soft areas and then use those time in the difficulty areas. By the 7th week, you should be very familiar with how the computer testing looks like. You should try to have a full section on your own where you practice without break, or even if you want to take a break, it will depend on the resources that you are using, but you can decide not to take a break and go like full scale. So this makes you stronger for the exam. Okay, for the last week before you go for the test, you need to restudy your weak areas, keep sessions short, and confirm test the logistics. After all the hard work, you need to check everything, logistics, your ID, and your calculator is in line with the specifications that NCEES required. And then when you get to the exam, make sure that you answer every question like we mentioned earlier on. The good thing is that there's no wrong answer penalty. So if you get a question wrong, NCEES will not penalize you or take a point from you, so you don't lose anything. Okay, so today's takeaway, the gap between first time and repeat takers is real and documented by NCEES, as we have seen. So we should never underestimate this exam. For myself, I remember when I failed the first time, the main reason why is I underestimated this exam. And so I studied some areas and I'm feeling confident about some other areas. So the second point we also talk about is the handbook fluency. It's very important. This is a skill. It's not a knowledge gap. So using the handbook is not like somebody is better than the other person. It's just you practicing and be familiar with it. So it's something that can easily be trainable. We also look at the diagnostic report, how to understand it, what it meant. The average is in the middle with a dotted line, and then the solid vertical line is your point. Okay, if the vertical solid point is on the right side of the average, then that means that you have exceeded or met the requirement. And since we do not know the exact mark, it means that we need to study for all the areas. Okay, the last point is that for this week, I know you guys have done this already, but the only thing I'm not sure is whether you have practiced some problems on your own and then try to notice something for your performance. If you have not done that, you can visit my NCEES.org and then take some practice tests there. Even if you don't want to take the simulated test, you can start with the hard copied practice book they have, and then yeah, you can start from there. I think that should help. I used all those resources and they were very helpful to me. Okay, the last question, and then we'll come to the bonus tip for the section. So after today's section, how confident do you feel about taking the FE exam or your FE next step? How confident do you feel about your FE next step? Do you feel confident about it, or you still have some doubts? Do you think you can take the exam within the next 6 months or less? Oh, okay, somehow doubtful. Okay. Somehow doubtful. So one thing is that, okay, I don't see the names of the ones who type, but okay, but somehow doubtful. Okay, no problem. After this one, we will look at the bonus tip. And so, yeah, there are a lot of resources out there that you can help yourself with. Okay, better than first time. Just need a clear plan and stay consistent. Okay, and the other response is somewhat doubtful. Okay, these are all okay. One time we all have this kind of doubts, but yeah, as you mentioned, there need to be a clear plan, and then staying consistent to a steady plan. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Let me see. Okay, the bonus tip here, like I mentioned, there are a lot of resources, but let's look at this resource I put on the ShaiLearning.com. I'm not sure if you have been able to look at it, but I can walk you through it, and let's see. Let me see if I need to switch my screen. I'm gonna switch my screen to a different one. Stop sharing, and then I'll share this one. Okay. Let me do this. I think it's this one. Okay. Okay, let me see. Let me know if you can see my screen anyway. Okay. So yeah, if you can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, you can see the screen that says, how ready are you? So here, like you mentioned, somewhat doubtful. And this is very normal. So I want us to look at this here. I have two options here, right? Don't care about the mentorship. There's two resources here, FE and then the PE here. You can select any one of them, and then I'll select this one since we are talking about FE. I'll go to the next one here. The next one I'll try to enter. Let me see. I'll enter some names just for testing purpose. John is very common name, so I'm gonna use John, and then I'll use John. Though everybody use John Doe for testing purpose. I don't know if this will work, but I'm gonna enter a test email. Testing email test one. Okay. I'm gonna say that from US, and then here I'll say that electrical engineering. And the year of graduation, let's say I graduated, or the person entering this one for testing graduated 2020, let's say 2018. And then also you can pick if your degree is accredited or not accredited. Okay, so let's say it's accredited. And have you created your NCEES account already? Yes, it's created and it's active. I believe John also has you have your My NCEES account already. So Vincent confirmed he has the account.
Yes.
Okay, so now we'll go here. Yeah, this place is to help you to understand distractions, like one of you type in the questions, the responses to the question about distraction. So some things in our life are not necessarily distraction, but they can serve us good and they can also serve us bad. So in any case, you could have a job. The job, if you don't have a job, then you have a lot of time. But if you also don't have a job, then it's another problem. But let's say that with employment, I'll say that, okay, I'm employed. I work full time Monday to Friday. I'll select this one. And then family, let's say you can select any one. Family, single, no dependent, married, no children, married with children, single parent or other. Doesn't really matter. I'll just say uh, married with children. I'll just pick this one, anyone. Okay, this is weekly study hours available. So if you work Monday to Friday, that means that you only have some few hours to work, like say few hours in the night or in the evening to study. So I'll put like maybe 1 hour because I may be tired from work. So weekends, you may have free time. So you can put any number there. I'll just put like 2 hours. This is just for testing. Any major events in the next 6 months. So this depends. Some people maybe they are expecting to have their wedding, or some people they may be expecting to have a baby. Even if you don't have anything at all, I'll just say none. I have no any event in the next 6 months. And then I'll move to the exam. Oh, okay. I did not select something here. So here, you need to, if you are married, okay, is your spouse supporting you to actually take the exam? But this also plays a very key importance. So I'll say yes. I'll say yes. Fully on board because my partner is supporting me to be able to succeed. So I'll say yes. But if it is not, you have an option to say not discuss. No, this may be a challenge or even not applicable. Anyone. So I go to the next. And then this place you have, where are you on the journey? So if you are in the final year, you can select this final year student haven't graduated yet. Recent graduate, not yet taking the exam. If you are a working engineer, you can select this working engineer preparing to sit for the exam. The third one is retaker, previously attempted, need a better strategy. And then another option is if you're an international engineer, you're navigating the US pathway, you can also select this. But in our case, for testing purpose, I'll just select, okay, working engineer. Let me ask Vincent. Vincent, are you fully student or you are a working engineer? Okay, I'll just pick any one of them. Let's say working engineer. And then here, previous exams attempt, I'll say this is my first attempt. And then also testing window, I can pick, let's say January to March or April. I'll just pick January to March. And then I move to the next one. So this next one, which is the last stage, rate your knowledge areas. So you can see we have from 0 to 5, right? And all the 17 knowledge areas. So based on your knowledge, you can select no exposure, vague memory, basic recall, working knowledge. Number 4 is confident. You are confident you can take the exam. And then number 5 is very strong. So let's say mathematics, I'm very strong. Probability, I'll say also maybe I'll say number 4. We'll just pick any numbers just for testing. And then this is ethics and professional practice. I'll pick number 4. Engineering economics, I'll pick number 3. Properties of electrical materials, I'll pick number 4. So I'm just going to pick numbers. Circuit analysis, I'll pick maybe number 2. Linear systems, number 3. Signal processing, number 4. Electronics, number 2. Power systems, number 3. Electromagnetics, number 3. Control systems, number 2. And then communication, I'll pick number 3. Computer networks, number 4. And then digital systems, I'll pick number 2. And computer network systems, I'll pick let's say number 1. Let's go down a bit. And then software engineering, I'll pick maybe number 0. I don't even remember. So I'll just be 0. And so when you do this, you have your total score, and then your readiness level is like 57%. For this, the prep recommendation is like within 12 to 16 weeks. 12 to 16 weeks. So yeah, 12 to 16 week is based on recommendation for you. Let's say we reduce the mathematics to 1, then we will need like the score has reduced. Let's try to reduce this one again and reduce this. I'll try to reduce some of them. Okay. It still gives you 44%. Okay. You need about 16 weeks. But if I want to go very low, I can go on this. Right. And go low, very, very low on them. You just can choose one. So this one gives you 16 to 20 weeks. Base because you're in the 30% column, which is so poor. Okay, Then here you can enter why does this qualification or this certification matter to you. So this you want to know why do you need it. So you can enter here. Maybe you need career growth and income. You need career growth and to increase your income or something. Increase income, something, anything. So you need something like this. So okay, need career growth and increase in my income, something like this. I'll just put. And then what are the main obstacles you have? Here, the biggest one, you can say, you can pick any one of them. Time management is key. And then here you can say maybe you are confused or anything. You can select any one of them. And then you have the last 2 points, which is the agency and the commitment that you have. How urgent is this to you? Like I'll pick number 8 here. And then how will you commit to this? If you're picking number 8 as urgent, then I'm gonna pick number 9. I'm going to be fully committed. So number 9 or number 10 if you're fully committed. Then once you are done with this, you can generate your report. If this doesn't go through, then it's the email that I entered. Let me see. We'll do this. So it's generating our plan. Okay, it's generated. And then we have this. So if you look at this, an email will be sent to you through the email that we use. And then you have your study plan, your commitment, time management. You need to balance balancing of work, family, and study. Okay, so we have schedule gaps here, how to resolve them. So these are all based on recommendations, right? And then your study structured action plan will also be here on the screen. Okay, so this is what you see. And then if you want, you can save it as a PDF or you have it also in the email that you have. You can always start a new assessment. So this is a tool I made to help engineers who want to take the FE or the PE exam. It's just to help you to know how many weeks, but this is based on recommendation, right? How many weeks you will need. Okay, so that is it. This is what I wanted to show you. If you have some time, you can look at it, but it's something I wanted to show you. And you are not obligated to do anything. You just can test it to see whatever you want to see. Okay, I'll leave it from here and then let me, okay. The other webinars that we have you can check here to see if you want to watch them or whatever you have missed is fine. I'm gonna switch back to my presentation slide and then we can conclude on questions and answers. I'm gonna do this. Oh, by the way, if you have a question, you can ask because I'm going to the question and answers. If you have questions about a tool, you can ask. I'm going to switch to the other presentation slide. Okay. Okay, so now question and answers, we are done.
You said before that pencils and paper aren't allowed in the actual FE exam. So if we need to like calculate something if we need to calculate something, if we have to calculate a question using a formula, what do we use? Do we just?
Oh yeah, that's a very great question. So when I said you don't need papers there, what I actually meant is you don't go to the exam or the testing room center with your own papers, like your own bringing papers from your house, right?
Mm.
But at the testing center, you'll be given They will be giving pencil. You'll be given pencil and papers that you can solve all the questions in. You can request as many as you want.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's a good question. Yeah.
Got it.
Okay. Any other question again? We don't have any question. Okay. What do you think about the tool? Do you think is something that is helpful? That will be helping. That will be helpful to engineers who want to take the exam to check how ready and like for quick evaluation for them.
Yeah, it'll be helpful to kind of just understand like the schedule, like and the flow, kind of like where you're at in your professional career. When you have professional and personal responsibility, it's kind of helpful to kind of have like a a plan, kind of work the way to studying for the FE exam.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
It also shows
Yeah.
how diverse you have to be when actually studying for the FE exam.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. So yeah, I made that tool to help in case other people they want to see how ready they are, so they can easily check. And then you would get to know, okay, you need like 16 weeks or you need 20 weeks. So 20 divided by 4 is like 5. You need like 5 months. Yeah.
5 months to study?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it all depends on how prepared the engineer is. So if you are adequately prepared, then you may need less time. But if you have a lot of gaps, then you need more time. Okay, let's see. Like, okay, let me show you again. Okay. Okay, but I think it's understood. So let me stop sharing. We are exactly into 1 hour of the call. So yeah. Okay. On this note, we may end here, and then next week I may be unavailable, so that's why I did not put anything there. What I'm going to do is I will try to record the next section and then upload it to the website and then YouTube.
Will it also be in your website?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll put that on the website. Yeah. But this is the this assessment to I was showing you. So based on the areas, let's say mathematics, you chose 1. That means that you still have a lot to cover. And then probability 2. So based on what you chose here, this one, computer networks, is 4/5, which means that you have you are very confident in this area. So based on your confidence level, then that will give you like recommendations. So here you see here the schedule gap resolve before starting. So these are based on my recommendations here. And here, the first one is only 3 hours, 30 hours per week is not sufficient. So you remember we pick 1 hour for after work within weekdays, Monday to Friday, 1 hour. And then also we pick 2 hours for weekend. So the first one is 3 hours is not enough for you. It's not sufficient. So at least 5 hours per week typically should be okay. And family situation also, we selected that you are married with children, and then with support from the wife. Okay, so a direct conversation about protected study time is the first action item, not the study. So if your spouse is fully supporting you, then you have to, and then your readiness is not so good, then you need to discuss with your spouse, you need more time. Or if you're studying for a longer period, she really understand. So maybe he or she still understand and doesn't feel like, okay, you are leaving them alone. So these are recommendations here, and then also structured plan. Here you need to confirm with your state board eligibility. We've already discussed. Download your reference handbook. Have a steady schedule conversations with your household. So household is your family, and also you need to purchase resources from for that. And then start with the highest priority knowledge areas, which here we selected mathematics is 1, but mathematics, carries 11 to 17 points. So it's one of the heaviest. And so if you are rating very low, then recommendation is that start with the ones that you are rating so low. And then also, the final one is register for this testing window. Okay, so that is all, and the final one is here. But once you do this, you will see this report generated for you. Okay. Without any other question, we'll end it here. Thank you so much for coming today. Today we have